I am Friar Tuck, and this is my epoch. Because, something like this, I want it to go off without a hitch. I'm also playing with fire here. So, attention to detail is extremely, extremely important in a situation like this. Even when you're hiking, attention to detail is important. Do you have yourself a bear bag? Are you aware of the possible predators that you're going to be coming across? If you do come across them, how do you handle them? And each medium that you use to travel, you should have some knowledge, if not of the terrain, of the necessary skill set, the basic skill set to just get started. Okay, because you will learn things as you go. If you decide you like it, so for example, I rode 1,000 miles on bike. For those of you that have been around long enough, you remember watching me ride my bike from Orlando to Panama City, and then back. And I got to dabble in it. I decided that was just something that I didn't like. But you don't know whether or not you like it until you try it, okay? And until you experience it. And then you can decide. And a lot of times, I usually try something a few times. Try and get a Rat 7 knife before it's too late. Best budget. Yes, I think you said that last night as well. So, but if you come over to my Patreon, I have hobo tutorials. And one thing that I was talking about last night was stealth camping. But sometimes though, when instead of stealth camping, you may want to look at traveling in a group. Now, with a group, that means you can be static, especially if that group is static. That's something that you guys can definitely think about. And over there I kind of give some basic ideas, but of how to be able to conduct yourself. But just to kind of give you some food for thought, something that will help you should you get put in this situation. Never actually sleep in the group, okay? You want to sleep away from the group. Make sure that you don't that you're not close enough, for not only for safety, but also for drama and for other things. So these guys, they sleep in one area. I sleep about 100 to 300 feet away from them, so that one, I don't hear their noise, and two, I'm close enough to where somebody comes by and looks at me, I'm still part of the group, so therefore they're not going to mess with me, because any of these group members will come over to my rescue in the same way that if I were to hear something from them, I would have to go over there. It's kind of like your rent isn't cash. Your rent is participating in group security, and that also includes not getting ran off by the cops. So these guys are very clean. The cops actually give them compliments of how clean of a campsite they have, especially after being in the same spot for a year and a half. But these guys are very particular, not only of who they let around. So when you come up to a group and you're thinking about group camping, realize that you're going to have to be introduced. There's going to be that one guy. He's the guy that makes sure that nothing stupid goes on, and so he might be the most confrontational. But he's checking you out. Always a trailer, car, paracord, hiking clips to attach yourself to a trailer axle or grainer car. You get inside the little hole and hide out until you can pop out. Okay, so I saw a kid do that today. So I saw, yeah, there's a hole in the grainer. So a car, trailer car, paracord, has hiking clips. Okay, so is that the dual clips, or is that just the single clips? Because I can get some that have like a 2,000 to 5,000 pound rating, or does that mean that that they have the dual, so clip on one side, clip on the other? Oh, junk cars are the safest because nothing of value is on. So okay, semi trailers. Okay, so yeah, I've heard of that as well. Okay, so if I have a ham radio, I don't need to get on and off, but since I don't have a ham radio, I should probably look at getting on and off. Is that the consensus? And I know very little about ham radios. I know almost nothing about ham radios. So that means that's another learning curve that I'm gonna have to get a part of. And how vital is a ham radio and knowing ham radios when traveling. Can someone in the group secretly steal something from you while you sleep? I can show you guys. Go ahead and send me an email of those guides if you would. Okay, so can someone in the group steal from you? Yeah, well, yes, anybody can steal from you. Will they? It depends upon the company that you're hanging around. Okay, so tweakers, there's a little game that goes on between them. Only a simple program, just use Windows PC. Okay, well, it's gonna have to be on a phone, because that's all I have. But anyways, to answer that question, let's see here. Okay, there's a train that's going by. Let's see if I can show you guys. No, you guys can't really see it. I can see it, but you guys can't. But that's actually where I sleep, because I've been watching the trains. So I've been sleeping under the bridge watching the trains. So I kind of get an idea of when they come around. Library computer. Yes, I have a library computer. I can definitely use that, and they use Windows. But as far as somebody in the group, now tweakers, they have this thing, right, where they like to steal from each other. It's a game. It's like, aha, I got you. You weren't paying attention. Pocket used to try this to me as well. He would pull a fast one, do a trade, and then change the terms, and then, you know, if you weren't on your wits, he would take you for a lot more. But he was checking to make sure that you're paying attention, because that's the thing, is what they're doing is they're looking for a weakness. Are you paying attention to what's going on? And if you're paying attention, then they won't get a hold of you. But if you're not, well, then you know what? They got you, and it's a game. Okay. Now, hanging around drunks, you don't have to worry about that. Worst thing you got to worry about drunks is them panhandling you. Hey man, can you buy me a beer? You know, and a beer's only like $1.40, $1.50. So it's not that much. And so their habit, out of all habits, probably costs the least out of all of them. Okay. And so as far as people within the group stealing from you, it is rare. And that's usually when you start having a bunch of random people that show up, and you know, and you have a lot of new faces. That's usually when something like that happens, and that means that you have poor group leadership. You guys heard me talk about this in Gainesville with the group that I was working with, and you know, we had good leadership up to a point. Then they just started bringing in everybody, and it's, you know, started growing the camp. And the thing is when you're starting a camp, especially if you don't want to get blown up, and if you don't want to deal with the cops, you don't want to deal with all that dumb shit, one of the things that you really got to focus on is making sure that you're clean, you leave no trace, you come in at specific times, you leave at specific times, you get to know the people around you in that area. So I had somebody ask a question last night, and this will kind of, you know, help answer that as well. So he was asking, you know, about, you know, just setting up in the woods. Now, if you're going to set up in the woods and you're going to be there long-term static, okay, that means you're planning on getting a job, getting a place in that neighborhood. Then one of the things that then you're going to want to, you can do what I'm talking about here, okay, which is set yourself up a long-term camp. But the thing is, for probably the first few months until people get to know you, because they want to feel safe around you. After a while, the guy that I talked to, there's, you know, the local community chats on Facebook, they will point out, oh yeah, we haven't seen our local homeless guy for a few days, okay? And therefore you become part of the community. They will come down, they will make sure you're fed, they'll make sure you're taken care of, but it also requires a certain amount of decorum. You're not being trashy, you're not trashy, you know, you are working towards a goal, you're doing something positive and productive, or you have a good enough reason why you cannot find gainful employment or be productive. And there are reasons, and legitimate reasons for that. And the community will take care of you and make sure that you are safe, and then they become your neighborhood watch. In the same way that if anything goes on in that neighborhood, because you're the eyes and ears, you're offering security to that neighborhood, because you're their local homeless guy, the guy that they're taking care of. So because you're outside, you get to hear and see things that these guys inside their dwellings aren't able to hear. you know, if there's ever needed for a witness or any type of neighborhood security or neighborhood watch, you are automatically integrated into it because that's your role within the community. That's why they're taking care of you. Whether you realize it and whether they realize it, that's really the symbiotic relationship between the housed and the unhoused, if you're going to do something like that. But if you're planning on hoboing or nomading or just traveling, then something like that would not be useful for you. You would do what I'm doing, which is you would go and find a group that you can get along with, that is being ran properly, that is very they have standards before they bring people around. They will invite you back and say, hey, you can come back here anytime you want, if they like you. If they don't like you, they won't say anything. If they kind of imply it, they might come up to you a few days later and say, hey, we hadn't seen you, just checking in on you, seeing how you're doing. Because in a way, if they don't tell you not to come back, then they like you enough to allow you to be around them, because it's for their safety and for your safety. And are you doing your part? So thanks. One more question. Here, check out. Let's see if we can see it. All right, there's some bikers. All right. So, all right, guys. Since I got no more questions, it's about that time. I will see you tomorrow about the same time, because it looks like between like 6 and 7 is going to be that sweet spot. And if I wanted to do one every day, I think I could probably find that sweet spot. So guys, keep showing up, keep interacting and asking your questions as you watch my content. If you have other questions aside from that, please be sure to ask them, because that's what this live chat is about, is so that you can get clarification. Because sometimes you can watch a video, but other times you just need to be able to ask a question, just because there's just a couple of nuances that you need some sort of clarification on. So, you know, that's what I'm here for. That's what these live streams are here for. And I will see you guys tomorrow in the next live stream. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you are subscribed, don't forget to hit that bell notification so you're notified when I go live. I will see you tomorrow.